Hey guys, my name is Amon.
And my name is Camilo.
And we're in the Green Room Studio.
From the Green Room Studio, we are a go.
You were in the military, right? You were in the Navy.
Yes, sir.
From 2014 to 2018.
Yes, sir.
And what did you do there?
So there, I was an operations specialist. I had no clue what it was, but it's just pretty much like we work with the radars in the CIC room, like secret clearance, where we deal with all we're not really the techies, we're the ones that just use pretty much monitor, like really the ship's movements and like navigation and all. And then that's when I converted more into the CB side because I wasn't very interested with the operations specialist. The job was just too easy and like we got off even early, like off of work at times, and I'm like, man, people complain about us, people bitch about us and whatnot, and I'm just like, well, I'm sorry, like my job is more underway or deployments.
Okay.
And when we're not, what do? So
you guys had a lot of downtime?
Yeah, we had a lot of downtime, and then converting more into the CB side, it's like, all right, I'm doing the things that are like in my type of ballpark. Like I'm around Marines, I'm doing I was a steel worker, and the thing is we got to wear green too, how.
What, the Marine green?
Not Marine green. It's like the Navy Expeditionary color, the green.
Oh, okay.
It's like similar in a way, but it just switches off from the blue that we're accustomed to, or the coveralls, man, or overalls. I forgot what their names, but getting accustomed to that and then switching off into that, it's like, ooh, that feels nice,
Okay. Now, from what I understand, for the Navy, you have to be in ship for about a year and then 3 years.
So it depends on your contract, but usually it's between 4 to 5 years where you stay on the ship. 4 years that you're on a ship, and then you can do 3 years shore. So
it's more years on ship.
Yeah, it's more years on ship, because most of the MOS is are ship based. Unless you're in the logistics side or yeoman side, you wouldn't be really needed in in shore duty. And my job, as operations specialist, that's all sea duty. It's a ridiculous amount of sea duty. If you go to shore duty, you do something kind of on the slowish area, simple paperwork or just in a secret room, you just monitor it.
Okay.
So
tell me how some of the places you guys hit ports.
One of my favorites was, of course, Greece. Greece is gorgeous.
Did
Italy.
you see Santorini?
Oh, I wish. But I was in Athens and also Suda, Crete.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, that was amazing. And Spain, it was from Alicante to also Rota. There was another one, but Cadiz, I think. Yeah, it was Cadiz. And then we also hit Portugal, not that long.
Mm-hmm.
Abu Dhabi, Dubai.
Wow. Did they give you any time to go on shore and hang out for a little bit where you could actually...
Some of the days, yes. When the ship was doing its repairs in Bahrain, and then we also went to Abu Dhabi as well for about a week. Suda Bay was a few days. Italy, that was a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I also went to Naples as well because we hit a port where just downtime, free time.
Any crazy stories?
Oh, loads. We're heavy drinkers. Heavy drinkers. I've gotten into bar fights with Italians because they're yeah, they're very aggressive. They're just they're like, yo, you Americans make me sick. I'm like, what? And me, I'm 6'2", I've always been the big dude. I'm 6'2" and 250. So like hearing this small Italian guy like calling us disgusting or whatever, I lifted. I'm like, who are you talking to?
That's
like
so
that?
funny.
Yeah.
He changed your tune?
Oh, the Italian guys? Oh yeah, he changed his tone. Yeah, he definitely changed after when he saw me. Like, what? Like, first of all, it's like I'm Colombian and American, so
He just picked the wrong guy.
In a way, it is our fault because we do tend to like go a little bit too crazy. I'm pretty sure, you Marines with Japan, like.
I mean, I've never deployed, but there are
you never
stories.
deployed?
No.
Ooh. That's
I
crazy.
was in Camp Pendleton, California the whole time, so.
Well, that's understandable. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's completely different overseas.
Overseas, it is because they do give us a lot of restrictions. They do give us like, we even have like, depending on your rank, is when you're able to be out as long.
Mm-hmm.
And since me, like, funny thing. So for me, went to boot camp. I was in school for a long couple of months. After when I got off, went straight to my command, and my command's like, oh, by the way, you deploy in a month. I'm like, wait, what? Like, I didn't take leave because it's like my sister was already in Virginia. I got orders to Virginia. So I flew there. I told my family, listen, like, let me hold this leave time so, I can get adjusted over there in Virginia. I have a place to stay, me and my sister are good. We're good to go. And then I go to my command, and they're like, yeah, you deploy in a month. I'm like, Jesus. So from there, like, I just started deploying in deployment. I've been in 2 deployments in a matter of, it was like 2 years, 2.5 years.
Wow.
And a lot of underways, a lot of sea trials. Like, there is a time where the longest I've been out to sea, like, this is when sea trials, it's when you're out to sea for longer than, so my longest is 91 days at sea.
Okay. Do they give you badges or any kind of medals for that?
Sea surface deployment ribbons. We also have our expeditionary ones. That one was when I was in the other commands. So
I didn't have a stack. I had like 3 ribbons, honestly, when
I had about like 3 rows or something.
Dang.
I was when I was in, like, I was the yes sir, like
saying yes to all the opportunities.
Yep,
everything.
all the opportunities. Like, even this deployment to Libya, that was 14 months. It was an IA deployment, individual augmentee deployment. I volunteered for it. Like, I know usually with IA deployments, they're more like combat aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So when I heard that opportunity, it's like, this is what I wanted, like this Navy stuff. Like, yeah, it's cool and all, but in reality, it's like, I felt like I wasn't like accomplishing what I wanted,
Which is what?
Honestly, wanted to be, like I said, I was very stubborn back then, very like hot-headed, where I'm like, I want to shoot guns and do some cool stuff.
Be a badass?
Be a badass, yeah. Be a badass from the definition of what is told.
Did you get to?
I got to, and you don't really feel so badass after when that actually does happen, Like, everybody wants to be a badass until you have to do badass things, or what they call badass things, when in reality it's just more bad things, Like, you say it's for a country, or you say it's for, the love of your country, but in reality it's like you're doing it because it's orders. And once you realize that those orders are done, you don't feel so proud, You don't feel so like it just makes you like more numb. And that was after that deployment, that's what I became. And I started becoming that side of me that now, to this day, now that I'm, through therapy and everything, I don't want to be, because that person hurt a lot or was in such pain and such numbness that I didn't realize what I was doing to my loved ones around me. I was doing, like, for example, like when I got out, I didn't get out in the best terms. After when I got out, I actually got generally discharged for a mistake that I couldn't like openly open up to, that, you know, it was my fault. I took accountability, and because of my good conduct and everything, it was just bumped down to a regular general discharge. So when I got out, no idea what I was going to do with my life, because my heart and soul was military. My heart and soul was this. I planned on doing 20, or did plan, but after that, like, that mistake and that deployment, it was a big change. Like, my whole mindset was just, I gave up on me. I gave up on feeling and caring for me. I cared for others, but I say I cared for others, but at the end of the day, like, my mental health was aggression, violent. Like, I was angry for no reason. Like, I remember I used to wake up and it's like, why the sky's blue? Like, I'm irritated. I just wanted to be irritated, and I didn't get it. And then I put my parents through hell. Like, because when I got out, I couldn't hold a job. Why? I get angry, get into fights. So the name for it is, of course, PTSD, because of what I witnessed over there in that deployment. I witnessed children getting killed, or, you know, like, I've seen people just get blown up right in front of me. So it really affected me mentally, where, like, anyone that looked at me wrong, it was immediately like, I'm ready, fight or flight.
Oh, man.
Fight or fight, fight or flight. One moment I'm okay, the next moment I see red. Or one minute, like, I'm just walking into a bathroom, I'm walking to something, the next boom, I'm like, where the hell am I? Like, I lost myself so many frequent times. And then I also have like a humming the drum in the ear from like gunshots, or like from just random things, where this ear is like partially deaf. So, and the worst thing is, this ear is always like a reminder, because it still rings. It's always a reminder of those terrible memories. So no matter what, I gotta wake up every day and have that memory, even if I don't want to. And that is the issue that I feel like the military does. Like, they teach you how to be soldiers, they teach us how to be Marines, they teach us how to be like sailors, those people that are raw dog. We don't, if we got issues, we smoke or drink it away. Then when you get to the real world, in the civilian world, like, we're so numb to it that we forget that we're human a lot of the times. And that's something that I could say I did forget. Like, I forgot that it's okay to cry, but in the end of the day, I repressed for so long, I forgot how to. Or I didn't realize that you can hurt people's feelings with the things you say, and I was just said it out of the blue. Like, I was so horribly blunt and horribly just aggressive. Like, I didn't realize that I was hurting, and then my only reply was, "Oh, you'll be okay. Suck it up. It's just words."
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
did you have any support to kind of help you work through that stuff?
as soon as I made that mistake, because you know, you can make 1,000 rights, you can be a yes man, but one mistake literally makes you a shitbag, a dirtbag, blah blah blah. So when they knew I was getting discharged or whatnot, it just felt like they were just signing papers just to get me out. And I've been asking questions like, hey, what do I do for this? Like, what do I do for that? There's TAPS class, of course, like, for the week that they teach you like some things about civilian world or whatnot. But, do they tell you about how to do the disability claims? Do they tell you how to do all that? No, they didn't. And I knew, I'm like, listen, I have mental health problems. I knew I needed help, but the VA I never felt like I gave them that chance to write the right guide. So I gave up, and that's how I ended up. I ended up homeless because I couldn't find a job. I was in my car for 3 months with my dog. I just didn't know what to do or where to go, and I was giving up. 2018 was the roughest year of my life. I was the heaviest I've ever been. I made it up to like 330 pounds or 320 pounds. Just like not caring, like just constantly eating, like just not taking care of myself. And then, you know, like you get bad knees, you get bad shoulders, bad back from like wearing armor, just, you know, just doing military things because, you know, they try to treat us like robots or whatnot. And then later as you get older, you're like, damn, like it's starting to hurt. And then with that weight that I was carrying, it's like I was like, the doctor, one VA doctor even told me, he's like, you're probably not going to make it to 40 the way you're going. And I just didn't care. I just got up and I'm like, you're useless. I'm like, well, you suck.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's what they have to say is.
Yeah. And it's like I said, like my parents went through a lot to be there for me. And I put them through hell and back. Or even this ex-girlfriend, like it's been 4 years, but even this ex-girlfriend, she was the first person that I told my traumas to, and she did everything she could to say, like, you need help, you need to go. I spent 4 years just not giving a fuck, like, and that sucked, like, to realize that I wasted 4 beautiful years of my life being in this hell that I created for myself. Like, yeah, the military did what they did, but in the end of the day, your life is controlled solely by you. Trauma is a fact of life, but it's not a life sentence, and I allowed it to be my life sentence. And it was a life sentence that I created for me. So this time that I said, you know what, I need better, I need to do better, it was already too late. She left, and I perfectly get it, but it's like, it was honestly thanks to her where I said, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to get that help. So next thing you know, I go call the VA, and they even asked me like, oh, if you're suicidal, I'm like, yes, yeah, like I'm ready to go. I need this. And it was in January 2021 where I started my first therapy. Like where, like even if there's days if I feel like a little bit down, I go back and listen to the first recording, and like I just remember that broken person, like that person that was crying, like I was not holding back, like all that repression like was held into that very recording. And you know, that tells me, you know what, I may have a bad day now, but I'm not there anymore. So
So what do you think you wish you could have had, at least, to kind of help you work through?
I wish we had more of a guide, like more talk about things that the VA does have to offer, or like things that are offered. Like I didn't notice that there's even like those anger management classes and stuff where you can just say, okay, I feel a little bit angry, and go talk to a group or go talk to people. Like they never tell us that. Because again, like the problem with the military is that they want to teach you how to be
A warrior.
But, you know, we're warriors, but we're also human. But we completely forget about that.
They forget about that.
They do.
A machine.
We're machines, yeah. That's what, and like, so it's to the point that like, I realized too that we get accustomed to like stuff like dark humor, like where any other civilian would be like, wow, like they're like, when some people hear my humor, they look at me like, dude, you're a monster. And I'm like, oh, that's typical for us. You know, like I realize when I show my military friends, they're just like, like that's fucking funny. And then when I show like other people, they're just like, wow, like, are you okay?
You know, I feel like that's just our way of coping.
Yeah, it is our way of coping.
But in a way also to not let things get to us. I mean, a form of resilience, if I might say.
Exactly, that's the perfect word for it, resilience. Like, in the end of the day, like we always have to laugh through something, like pain, and laugh through like whatever, because if that's our way of coping, then, you know, it's better than even getting into other bad habits that unfortunately, there are some veterans that I know that got into those habits because what else they're going to use to cope? And like, weed, I don't think weed is like a terrible thing. But then eventually, if you just, all you do is just smoke in the morning, day, and afternoon, you're forgetting about your own life being sober. And
it's like you can't go throughout your day being sober, right?
Yeah. And to be honest, I'm mentioning it because that was my experience. I could not go a day being sober. Like, I had to be high all the time. Or because back then, the reason why I gained so much weight is because I was drinking. I used to drink like a 12-pack of Corona every day. Like, I'm surprised, like, my liver's still good after all I went through. And then, I can admit it, but it's disappointing. I even got into Oxycontin at one point because I'm like, all right, this high's not doing me justice. Like, I just like felt like I wanted to be numb. And then and it was before meeting my ex, and like when I got into the Oxycontin, that's when I almost gave up completely. And like it was a dog, like my current dog, my service dog now, like who stopped me from doing it, like who stopped me from like saying, you know what, I'm done. Like, it's chilling to say, but I even wrote my letter to my parents telling them I love them and I'm done. So
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
no, I appreciate it. And I think every day of that dog, because in those 4 years he was all I got. I couldn't talk to nobody. I didn't want to, and he was the loyalty and the backbone that I needed to get on track,
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, like, I became like more of an advocate for, dog abusers or like, stuff like that, because like, they are just God's gifts. That's the way I think, is like, there's no such thing as a bad dog.
What's his name?
Cerberus.
Cerberus.
Yeah, the three-headed dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought of that in mythology, and like, I remember the first time I saw him, and the funny story about him is that I got him from another ex-girlfriend. This one cheated on me, but whatever. Like, I'm good with her now only because like she gave me Cerberus, and when I healed, like, I even thanked her. I'm like, no matter what happened, I'm not gonna hold that against you because you gave me my life, And when I'm so his story is, he was only 5 weeks. His mother was a white German Shepherd mixed with Grey Wolf, and she got hunted down. She got killed by hunters, and I got a 5-week-old Shepherd that needs to be nurtured, that needs, like someone that has time. And my ex at the time knew like I wasn't okay, and my dream dog was a German Shepherd. And then she calls me, she's like, hey, I know we have a dog, because we had American Eskimo. She's like, I know we have a dog right now, but I want to show you this. And I'm like, sold. So I went over. Well, at first I was like, oh, we already have a dog, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And then when I held him, and as soon as I like held him, put the bottle in his mouth, those eyes killed me. I was in love right away. And from there on, I could say like, those eyes even saved my life, because I was gonna count to 3 after I wrote the letters and everything. And right when I was ready to go, I feel I feel something warm, whatever. I look down, and there he is, just looking at me. Again, those puppy eyes. Right when I'm like saying, wow, I'm a piece of shit that has a gun in his head right now. Like, yeah. And from there on out, I was like, I'm not gonna disappoint you. And he's now 7, and here I am still striving together. like like even to this day, like I still always I go out with him everywhere. I even went to the mall just the other day with him just to go shopping and stuff, since he's now my registered service dog. I even bring him to work for the kids, like to see, because like, anyone that gets to know me, everybody that is close to me loves my dog because they know that dog is me, that dog is, is that part of me that everyone's gonna know me by. And it's just a wonderful feeling that this dog is, brought me back to being a human again, in a way that I lost from the military. And, like, some people's guardian angels are their parents or like a grandmother, and mine's has 4 legs. Mine's got 4 legs, and he is just the biggest love of teddy bear ever.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
You said you take him to the kids.
Yeah.
Could you tell me a little bit about that? You say because I mean you work with the Guardian, right?
Yes. So like the titlement is called Guardian. Basically, after the whole Stoneman Douglas situation where children and teachers were killed from a mass shooter, like the Guardian program became more effective, where we even work with Hillsborough County Sheriffs. We are sent to the Guardian program. It's 3.5 weeks of just like constant just shooting and shooting and shooting. Like one person goes through at least probably like 3,000 rounds
of training, right?
Of training, yeah.
And when being a Guardian is
law enforcement in a way.
For schools.
For schools, for the Independence County. Like for me, like Hillsborough County. So all the schools in the Hillsborough County always has a Guardian. Okay. And like all the schools, and also sometimes some schools require like, police officers there too. So it's always a Guardian, a police officer. It depends, and like depends on the school. Like King High School. Like I don't know if you're familiar with King High School. Oh yeah, they definitely have a police officer and a Guardian.
Okay. And how did you get involved with being a Guardian?
So it was another friend. It was the brother of one of my other close friends who has always told me about it and said, "Hey, listen, this is a good opportunity. It pays well. Like it's like close to law enforcement. You even have a license that says LE, like a license, like a law enforcement license, and they take care of you like that." And at first I denied it because I was like, again, like if I'm gonna hold the gun or if I'm gonna put my life on the line, I want to be in a better mental state, because my mental state wasn't good enough to be a part of that. Like I felt like I wasn't too right in the head to be around a weapon, or like you always got to be on the alert. I mean, I know I'm good at it because I've done in the military, but it's like in my heart I was like I need to be better in order for me to do it. So after that time in therapy, it was a long time coming, but I finally said, you know what, let's do it. And man, like I applied in March and it took like psychological evaluation, it took like the constant piss tests, physical after physical, everything to finally for them to be like, okay, you're good. And it was funny, it's 8 weeks of training, and they even treated you like the military too. We had to do clean shaving every day. And back then I had a longer hair because my plan was about to do braids, and they're like, you gotta cut it. I was like, oh wow. They treated it like the military. So whoop, clean shaved and everything every single day. And then the Guardian program, like driving all the way to Lithia to the Hillsborough County the shooting range, shoot for 8 to 10 hours in August sunlight.
No, indoor range.
I still got a farmer's tan. It's hot.
It's hot out there,
yeah. Like if we don't hydrate, something's gonna end us. And then it got more stressful because after when we got the fun little training the first week, the second week is like elimination. You only got two shots in like these training montages. Like one of them is like cover and concealment. Like the first time I shot, you have to shoot 4 out of 6 bullets. So you gotta pull down your weapon, shoot 3 rounds, and then while moving, you can't you gotta shoot while moving. If you stop and shoot, disqual. If you, in what I did, shot 5 out of 6 rounds, but I didn't conceal myself good enough, disqual.
Oh, wow.
So I only had one more shot. That one more shot, if I messed up, I'm out. Guardian program. Like, I don't work.
It sounds fun under certain conditions, but it seems like there's a lot of pressure added to it.
It was, but it's perfectly understandable why. Because there was this one guy, he got eliminated. Like, we started off with 15, we graduated with 9 because they couldn't pass the Guardian program, and they were complaining like, oh, why? But it's like, dude, once you take out that gun, and let's say there is a mass shooter, who are you around?
Kids.
So are you really willing to shoot that gun when you see kids screaming and running? Like, you better make sure you are a top shooter, or you better make sure that your aim is there, or you can breathe under stress, you can handle the stress. And that's what this Guardian program was doing. Like, we did breaching drills, we did drills like with kids screaming. Like, even I was like sweating, like, and it was just a training, like it. And then pop-ups, you know.
How did you manage to get through all that with the stuff that you've gone through in the military, right?
Part of it was the therapy. Part of it also was my determination for this job, because I said to myself, this job is my calling. Like, now this is my job. This is my opportunity to protect the little person. And those little people are 12 to 15-year-old kids. Like, and not for nothing, it's like, what I witnessed in Libya was children way younger than that being used as weapons. So I was determined to say, I want to make a difference. It sounds corny, yeah, but like for me, it's like, it was more meaningful that it's this job or nothing. And not only that, also a big part was the people that I was with, like the other Guardians. We made each other laugh. It felt like so homing because everybody got experience. Like, we have 2 interviews when they finally give us the interview, and part of that interview is a physical. You gotta run and do push-ups, sit-ups, whatever. And then another part is like, of course, the talking interview. There's people that don't get accepted from just talking, or they don't pass that physical part. You're out. Like, that's how, like, I knew this job was like, okay, everybody is either ex-military, ex-law enforcement, correctional officers.
Okay.
Or someone around there. And everybody there, again, there was one guy who was an Army Ranger, like, that has 2 daughters and everything, that he did 20 years, retired, and then is now the Guardian program. So it's like, it's crazy, like, that connection, you know?
Camaraderie, right?
Mm-hmm. So whenever we started thinking, like, or we started feeling doubtful, we all picked ourselves up and we all hung out. We all, you know, was there. And it was just that too, like, feeling at home with people that get it, you know? Like, people that have daughters in the Hillsborough County, people that have, like, you know, little ones that they care for, teachers, you know, everybody got somebody to care for. And I was the only one. Not only I was the youngest one, but I was also the only one that didn't have kids and stuff. But still, it's like, I care, you know, like I my heart is still into it. or my heart is still full at 100%. So it's like, I'm not going to take no for an answer, or I'm not going to think that negative, that what if I don't make it or whatnot. It's like, no, I'm going to make it one way or another. And that is exactly what happened. Like, we all graduated proudly all together. The ones that didn't make it.
Yeah.
And it felt so good, honestly. And wearing the uniform now, it's like it's my way of also finding that peace, that it's like, okay, I lost that opportunity from the military because of my mistake, but I learned from my mistakes. Now, here I am now with a new uniform and making a difference, not only for teachers to feel safe, or like these kids to feel safe, but for me to feel that peace, that I did what my heart always said I wanted to do. Stand up for the smaller person. Stand up. Be the bully to the bully.
It's like a full circle thing because of your service in the military getting cut short, but now you're able to continue it.
Exactly.
Now, even, with everything that you've been through.
It sucks to say that after when I got out, I became like atheist, or became like sort of like unfaithing, like saying just stuff that it's like, wow, well, like I look back and I'm like, wow, because I grew more into spirituality, because spirituality tells you like nothing is a coincidence, everything is meant to be in its place. Like even something as simple as an animal showing up in your life, like, and I was seeing a lot of deers just walking past me, like, and deers are usually like skimmish, they would be running away, but no, they just walk right past me like nothing. And that was like telling me like, like deers have a significant meaning. Here, wait, let me see if I'll find it on my phone, but like, deers are a positive meaning into life. Or like if you see a snake crossing by, it's telling you like someone in your group or someone that you know is deceiving you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was my ex-girlfriend that told me about like spirituality side and stuff. Like, she was honestly a big influence with me getting better. Like,
that's good.
Well, because the man that I am now is the person that she wanted me to be. She saw that potential, but I was too not caring for me in order for me. So that's why, in reality, she left. She is from Boston. She moved back to Boston when we took our break, but I ended it officially because I knew that like I was bringing her down, and I loved her enough for I'm done doing that for you. Do your life, and I need to do mine. I need to get better, and I can only heal by myself, because if not, I'm gonna be too comfortable with you being there, and I need to get out of that. So after doing stuff like that, sacrificing some things that I did not want to do, but I had to, all for me to now be such in a full circle where I look back and I'm like, all this time that I talked about God's never there, why is there a God of this, why is there a God? It's like, no, like, he forgave me because I decided to like not only get better, but be the version that I was meant to be. And I'm thankful for every single moment that I get to live again, or I get to wake up, or I get to hug my dog, or see my family, or like tell my parents I love them. like the look on my parents' faces when they hear me say I love you, because for such a long time I didn't say it, or such a long time I thought that made you weak. Like,
do you feel like now that your relationship has improved, at least, not just with your parents, but just everyone around you since?
100%.
Okay.
Like, I have a person, I call him my brother. Like, his name is Carlos, who lives in South Carolina now. He's a chemical engineer, a genius friend. But he even tells me, he's like, I love how different you are. Because back then I felt like I was on eggshells around you, like, or I felt like I could have offended you and made you angry. Or even like family too, same thing. And like friends, like they like the fact that I communicate, or the fact that like if I feel like they're not okay, I would just be a listening ear. I would just tell them like what's going on, how's it, like what do you need to talk about, and hey, like someone that can listen and give you advice, solid advice. Like, you know, I'm that type of friend that's that's honest. Like I'm not there to hug you and tell you the world's okay. It's like, no, like it's a pretty messed up world, but in the end of the day, this world is also beautiful. And here's the lessons that you probably need to hear and learn. And I'm not going to cuddle you up because I want you to be better. And the way to be better is hearing the truth. Like, I've learned that too. Like, I'll tell you when you're wrong, or because I can admit when I'm wrong. Accountability takes you such a long distance, because accountability is growth too.
You know, it's interesting though that you say you need somebody to kind of tell you the truth about yourself, right? And I think that speaks heavily on how much community plays a part in well-being.
No, like 100%.
I feel like when you have that sense of community, it gives you that accountability.
And that's the circle that I'm surrounded by, like just people that I'm glad they will tell me the truth. It's like, I need criticism. If you can't take criticism, you won't grow. You can't grow as a person. If you take it aggressively or offensively, then how are you going to get better? And that was my issue before. Like, anyone that like told me I have a problem, I'm like, no, fuck you, you're the problem. I ain't the problem. What you mean, you know? And then I look back, like, I knew I'd grow, because sometimes when I look back, I cringe at like who I used to be. Like, I cringe on how I treated my ex, or how I treated my parents, or how I even treated my dog. Like, my dog was afraid of me at one point, and this is the one that like saved my life. So, you know, like, now that I cringe, it already tells me like, you did grow. You know, sometimes when I feel like, damn, I could have done something better, it's like, hold up, still go back to what you used to be. You came a far way. And it makes me feel a lot better. And also, like, just being a helping hand for people that, like, that want to hear that criticism, because they're surrounded by people that are just two-faced, that just want to tell you, like, how to coddle you up and tell you, like, oh, the world's beautiful, you're going to be okay. It's like, no, like, you just be honest, but yet, like, always be there for that person. Simple. You know? And that's what I'm surrounded by, people that will give me that criticism, but I will not take it offensive. Why? It's because I know they love me enough to be there for me in a way that most people wouldn't. Like, most people that you meet aren't gonna like be honest with you. Most people that you meet, like, just want to do well, most of them are selfish nowadays. Most people just care about themselves. But the ones that you meet that are like, that would do anything for you just like you would do for them, that is something that is worth holding on to. I always consider like ourselves as being trees. Like, we're just that one big life. And there's leaves, there's branches. Like, leaves are friends that are like, you meet them, they go. The branches are people that you've known for a long time, but eventually what do branches do?
Break off?
They snap, they break off. And friends that I had for 10 years, friends that I had for 15, they betrayed me, like, when I needed them most. But I was always that guy that would do anything for someone, but not for myself. And once when I started doing things for myself, or when I needed them most, they broke off. Now the people that I do have, parents like my brother that I mentioned, or like my other brother, I call people my brothers because, and even like some friends that are women, like, those people are my roots. Why? Because they don't die. they're the ones that are growing with me, and they're the ones that I know no matter what, like even if I mess up or even if I get angry, because I'm not going to be perfect. Like, yeah, I went through therapy. I've gotten better, but there are times that I still get angry. It's okay to be angry, but there are times that I get a little too angry, and then they gave me that little space because they know that I'm going to acknowledge, oh shit, I messed up. Let me go ahead and apologize. And that happened recently. But those are my roots, to know that, like, even if they know I'll be like that, or if they feel that way or something, no matter what, we're still growing together. We're still gonna be there. You know? We're not gonna go back. We're just gonna keep growing. And that right there is, those roots are what makes me know that, like, there is good people. Like, there is love, especially like after, you know, my ex, I was, of course, a negative Nancy. I've been single, like, I'm never gonna find my person. It's like, dude, I'm 31, no kids, and I have a dog. I should be living it up, which I am. Like, I'm happy. Like, I'm happier than I've ever been than when I was in relationships, because it's like, okay, now I'm not happy of the thought of not being alone. I'm happy with I'm alone, but I'm still, like, really content. I'm still, like, you know, I can wake up and be proud of going to work. I'm happy putting on that uniform. I'm happy to look at my family. I'm happy to be here, you know, to just give my story. So anyone out there that needs to hear it, like, it does get better if you put that effort in for yourself. Like, for a minute, just be selfish for you, you know, self-care. I'm a big advocate on, like, mental health and self-care, because I was there. Like, I was supposed to be gone August 24th, 2018. I'm now coming in on Christmas 2024, and I'm more alive than I've ever been.
So, I mean, we spoke about your time in and coming out, but your sister was in the Navy as well. Can you talk to me a little bit about, like, your upbringing, where you came from?
Yes. Well, so I was born in Miami. Both me and my sister were born in Miami. My parents are Colombian immigrants. Like,
okay, interesting.
Yeah, they're Colombian immigrants, and, you know.
So you guys are first generation, you and your sister, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like, okay. We didn't grow up rich, obviously, because of immigrant parents, but we grew up with parents that know that they would do anything for us. Like, they made their sacrifices for us. Like, we never even had a babysitter. What they did was, my dad had a 12-hour shift, or, like, wherever he worked at, I even forgot. And my mother had another 12-hour shift. They would switch cars just to go and switch. Just
it was on rotation, huh? Just
to be there for us. They came here to America with, well, my sister was pregnant, or my mother was pregnant with my sister. They came to America with just $1,500, like, to their name, back in 92.
Okay. What was that like, from them coming from Colombia to America?
They thought it was gonna be easy, but in reality, they were down to $20 to their name, like, after a month. And they were just so, like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And God works in mysterious ways. That's why my mother has always been faithful, because they call it, like, I call it, well, back then I used to call it luck. But it's like, no, it's God's plan. And, like somebody overheard my parents, like, talking, like, saying, what are we gonna do for money? And they're like, y'all need jobs. And then from there on, work. And then from there on, my dad, like, found out about truck driving. He's been a truck driver for 30 years. And my mother learned about, you know, she had a psychologist degree in Bogota. But the problem with America is that they don't accept degrees from other countries. Yeah, or, like, they don't accept the degrees, like, in Colombia, for example. So my mother had to go back to school, you know, stuff like that. Like, they've did a lot for us, because while they left Colombia, Pablo Escobar was still alive.
Oh, okay.
And Pablo Escobar was blowing up places. What made them change their mind is that one night when they were in their apartment, they heard a bomb go off, and it was just blocks away. And my mother was pregnant with my sister.
Wow.
And they're like, we need to get out of Colombia. If there will not be a life for them.
Yeah,
Right.
I saw the movie Narcos, or the show Narcos,
Mm-hmm.
and in there they showed him, he was like blowing up planes.
He blew up, yeah.
And
then-
he's over here running
and that's
for
it.
office.
And it's a true story.
Dude is trying to.
It's crazy. Like, people are like, no way. It's like, yes way. This man was a monster.
Sounds terrifying.
5,000 police officers died from his hands.
Oh my gosh.
That's like, and me who is now in law enforcement side, it's just like, wow, like this guy actually existed, and he was on Forbes magazine as one of the richest men in the world. I think it was like number 5. He had a net worth of $30 billion back in 1990.
Have you been back since?
Oh yeah, I have. Medellin, like, is where his ground is. It's a completely different place. Like, it sucks that it still stays as a stereotypical, because whenever I say I'm Colombian, cocaine and Pablo Escobar.
Really?
Oh yeah. It's like, oh great, like, I'd rather be Mexican where I hear about burritos and tacos, but it's stuff like that, like, cocaine and Pablo Escobar and coffee. It's like, do you know that Colombia has 29,000 different species of birds? That it's one of the most beautiful bioed countries in the world. Like the geography of it and everything. Like the people. Christmas right now, or December, they don't just celebrate Christmas. The whole month of December is just a beautiful fiesta of people getting together in Colombia. Like, Colombia is a wonderful country.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to go and see the country in a better state. That's beautiful. I've never been outside the country.
Are you a single man?
I am.
All right, so we gotta go to Colombia.
That's the spot for single men?
Yeah, and over there they'll take care of you, like, and not just that. It's just like I love Latin women. That's just me.
Latinas?
That's just me.
I don't like to fly.
Really?
No.
Is it just like phobia, just being in a crowded plane, or like?
Nah, being up in the air.
Up in the air, yeah. But you know what's funny though?
What?
Like, airplanes are actually safer than cars.
That's what they always say.
Yeah.
But as soon as I feel a little turbulence, I'm like, oh my God.
Is it because of narcos?
It's kind of a little bit of an irrational fear of mine, but I mean, I've been on planes whenever I needed to go, like, to DC. Of course, when I was in the military, going from station to station and everything.
So I learned to face my fears by embracing it, Like, I know that's easier said than done, because trust me, like, it took me just forever just to go to therapy, just to talk about my fears.
There was a time where I was considering doing skydiving.
Oh, bro, that's scary.
And there's times.
I did it.
You have?
Back then, I was like solid 220. So that was a max weight limit. So when I went, that was an experience of a lifetime. I loved it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, my heart was racing. Like, I thought like I'm not gonna lie. As soon as we jumped, I kind of like fainted. I was like, holy God. 'Cause I was like, oh my God. Like,
I would have too.
yeah, because I'm just like, oh wow, like, those people look so small. It's like, oh dude, that's a building. I'm like, oh.
How high were you up?
I think it was like 20 or 30,000 feet.
Could you see the curvature of the Earth?
No, not that far.
You have to be higher.
Yeah,
right?
you gotta be higher. But it was an experience.
Feels like
of a
you're
lifetime.
floating.
Yes. But then little do you realize, it's like, they tell us, it's like, yo, we're going like 150 miles an hour, like, down. Like, it sounds scary, but it's like, once you do, it's like, all right, nothing else is scary.
I'll let you know when I muster up the courage to do it.
That's one thing I learned also. It's like, do you want to live your life in regret, or do you just want to do the things you love? And like, traveling, I love it. Especially like, after like the 4 years that I lost, I said to myself, I'm not losing anymore. Like, cruises, like, can't even go on a cruise too. Like, cruises are awesome. Why? Because you got everything. You got your
Right.
stateroom, all you can eat buffet. You can even get an all you can drink thing package. If you go to other countries, Bahamas, Dominican Republic, all that good stuff.
Yes, I would love that. I would love to go on a cruise out in the Mediterranean.
Oh, and like another thing,
Mm.
you don't feel the ship's movement. Like people, well, I mean, I've always had my sea legs. I've never felt like nauseous like when I first got underway and stuff. And I was in a small ship. I was in a destroyer, and it's like 300 max that fit in a destroyer. It's one of those smaller ships with like weapons. Like it's not big at all. A 25-foot wave was like, like knocking the ship out. Like but a cruise, like it felt the best sleep of my life. It was like the best sleep of my life. And not only that, there's so many events. Like this cruise that I went to, it was in Royal Caribbean. I forgot which name was it. But there's a casino on the 4th floor, a whole casino. And then there's a movie theater, and then there's 40 restaurants or like 30 restaurants. Like there's a club. Like when you wake up in the morning, you can see the sunrise while you're jogging in the track, because they have a track and they have a gym. It's like, it's awesome.
It's not a dull moment.
Yeah, it's not a dull moment at all. And Mediterranean, I always wanted to do those cruises too. Like I only did Royal Caribbean cruises and they're close. But like Mediterranean cruises, you actually go to Greece or like, stuff like that. Like Santorini, that right there.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I definitely recommend like Greece. Awesome food, great people, so welcoming. Like I'll tell you, Italy's a little overrated. I've been to Italy quite a bit of times, and each time I was like, I didn't have the best experience. So I'll tell you right now, Spain, you'll love it.
Really?
Yeah. You speak Spanish, right?
I speak a little bit.
Definitely recommend Spain. It's wonderful. Greece, another one. But we'll face those fears, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. All it takes is just one flight. Colombia's only a 3-hour flight.
From here?
Well, Orlando, because this Tampa International is only local. Whereas in Orlando, obviously, or Miami, you just go straight.
Cool.
So that actually might be a good little test for you.
Well, thank you for coming by and sharing your story.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You have to keep me updated on your next trip.
Most definitely. I will keep you updated, and I mean, just let me know how everything goes here, because seeing how it looks, it's like, it's wonderful. Like, I'm really happy to know that, like, there's people out there like you that are trying to do things for other vets.
We're doing it for each other.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, we all look out for each other. And at the end of the day, it's always one team, one fight.
I love that. It's been a while since I've heard that.
Yeah. Well, it stays in my heart,
Perfect. Thanks, brother.
Man, for a second, I was like, oh, don't fuck it up.
No, it's good.
Yeah, man. All right.
From the Green Room Studio, we are a go.